Good morning, how are you? Welcome back. I got a quick little video. If you're running louvered walls, how to keep everything nice and straight with a control line. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss this one. Okay, welcome back. I didn't come here to make videos today because I got a lot of work to do. But I have an excellent opportunity to share some information about running these louvers. And the situation at hand is you've got a concrete floor that slopes for drainage going that way, and you have a ceiling that also the ceiling is the roof. It also has even more drainage. So if you just take your louvered receivers, I don't even know what you call these. I need to figure that out. If you just take these as they are and place them on top, it's going on top of the block where, because all the pressure comes down, you don't want the pressure to come down in the void underneath. You want it to come down on the block that goes directly, transfers the load directly to the concrete. If you just take them all, place them on the concrete, your louvers are going to match that slope, and you're going to make turns, and you're going to drive down the road and look across, and you're going to see the louvers go up and go down based on the slope of the concrete. So what you have to do, you have to keep the louvers dead level, dead level. So the very first thing you do, in any case, not only in this case, in any case, the first thing you do, I set up my laser and I got a control line. And it doesn't matter if it's up here, down there, just somewhere where you could read it. It might be better just to be comfortable, have it up here, but I ended up putting it down here. I set my laser up on my table over here and shot around the room. And before I put it here, I put it on all the posts, both sides of the posts. I put it on this post. I put it on this post. That one, every post where every connection where these louver receivers are going to be tied in. So then that's your control line. You know that line is straight throughout your entire property. And if you need to match it, you can match it. If you come back tomorrow and you got to mark some posts over there, you can set your laser up. And even if the laser is off tomorrow by 2 inches, then you measure down 2 inches and so you can match that line. If it's 3 1/16, you measure down 3 1/16 and you match that line to keep your control line perfect everywhere you go. You could go one day over there, next day going that way, or in the next 5 hours or whatever. So you have a control line. From that control line, you measure to wherever you're going. In this case, it's 36 and a half. Over, when I had the laser up, I also took measurements at these locations and I wrote them down on the block. That's 36 and 3/8. That is 36 even. And this was, I don't see, what was it? Just under 36. So it's not drastic, but you have a ½ inch of drop across this area. However, you want to keep your louvers straight. So then, here's the one little trick. You, from the very first one you start with, you determine, I'm going to have to move the camera. I think I will, or maybe I don't. Let me do this. How does this look? You determine, let's say my control line is here, and I like to circle it just so I don't mistake it for something. You measure from that control line to the bottom of this cut, and when you put your square on there, you could see it that way. You could put your square underneath, You could even, if you wanted to, you could make a little pencil mark across there that might help you measure. Whatever this distance is, you have your control line, which is fixed. Then you need to make this, I'm going to eyeball that inch and an eighth. Do we need to measure that? Let's see. That might be an inch and 3/16. If I hold it right on an inch, that's, can you see that? That's just under 3/16. Anyway, not a bad eye. Um, so then from the control line, I have 36 and a half on that first one. So I need to run my tape from here, 36 and a half. Let's say, so run the tape, and wherever 36 and a half is, I make a mark. That's where I cut the bottom of this. Then we come back over here. The height may vary. In in my particular situation, I wanted this height. This section is an outdoor shower. So that's why the louvers don't go all the way down. There's going to be a shower head here, and the water can run away and not creep through a little gap, but it could just flow away. And this area is going to be a storage room. So the louvers go all the way down, and the louvers go all the way up as high as we can. The fact that we have a sloped ceiling, I think you could see that plate. I made this height the same as that height and ran a plate across there. Louvers are going to go up to that plate, and then I'm going to do something different above that, just to like stack my deck boards or something like that, because it's such a long taper. It's going to be, I don't want to get louvers involved with that long taper. So we got the measurement from the control line to the bottom, and then we know where we're going at the top, and I take a measurement there. And this one, the top of the post dictates the top of the louver board. So I determined that measurement less an inch and a half because I'm going to put a top plate on it. So that measurement to the control line was 76 and a quarter. So on this one, from the control line, I go up 76 and a quarter. Both of these across the top are perfect. The from the control line down is, again, it will vary. It always varies, but this is approximately a half inch. And then these are cut differently, but it'll keep that receiver board perfectly level in a horizontal motion all the way across. And that's basically it. The control line is your friend. The control, I've heard of people using control lines through houses, setting all the doors so that even if the floor varies, which they may, but the doors are perfect. Although I, that that's like a fine tuning. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much. Here's another thing while we're here. I also had my control line across here. And again, I didn't want to just stack on I can't stack it on the concrete. I got to work it up. So I set my laser down lower, and I cut these are just 4x4s with a 3/8 rebar going into the end of the 4x4 and into the concrete. So that's not going to move. That's not going to move. It's got enough weight on it. It's, unless there's a hurricane, this whole thing isn't going anywhere. Um, but that's just a 4x4 that stops here with a plate on top of it, and a bottom plate going all the way across. And then I put my louvered boards on top of there. And when it's all finished out, that's a much better finished look than trying to bring these down. I've seen people put just a 2x4 going down. It's not a great look. It looks a little like skinny chicken legs on a big fella kind of thing. But I think the 4x4 is an appropriate look because everything's going to be trimmed out with the 5/4 by 5.5 deck boards. Here's some cutoff pieces. You're going to have approximately there something like that, and you're going to have something like that covering up all these seams. That's going to be your finished product. That 4x4 looks very uh, appropriate in that area. And nobody's going to know that it stops right there, but it does. And it looks a lot better than a 2x4. Anyway, those are some of my quick tips this morning. Yesterday was a lovely day where I'm at. 75, 77 degrees in early March. And today, it's a little cooler. It's 63 or something like that. Windy. Um, Beginning of spring break, actually. But that's what we got. Control lines are your friend. You have to use them when you run these louvered walls. Thank you.
Brought to you by Energy Beats. Straight from the streets.